my mother's friend that
Okay.
helped this old lady. And one day she discovered she had sex toys, and she had, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
but my old ladies, the old ladies in my building, somehow inspire me out in building this character, especially my
Above
top
you. Yeah.
above me. She plays the piano.
Okay.
She's 19 now. She's
Wow.
19, and sometimes she just starts playing the piano like for 2 hours in a row. And sometimes I don't know if she's not very well now, but sometimes she goes play the piano at 11 p.m. or at midnight. And that there's a part in my book that I put
Oh,
there
good.
because it was like, oh, I don't care. I'm just playing the piano
Yes,
because I
exactly.
can. The book is called What If I Die Tomorrow? So
Yeah,
what if I
exactly.
die
Who
tomorrow? I have
cares?
to
Yeah.
play the piano
Yeah.
now. I don't care.
Very good.
Portugal.
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 Our vegetables are like rock stars.
Literally, Portugal is a small Disneyland for grown-ups.
You know, I think that Portugal is like my geographic soulmate.
It's hard to explain what it is because it's a feeling.
And when I went there, I absolutely fell in love with Portugal.
I want you to feel the crunchiness.
Portugal, the Simple Life podcast.
Portugal, the Simple Life podcast.
And we're here on his podcast, Portugal Simple Life.
Portugal, the Simple Life podcast, your insider's perspective into Portugal. And our latest episode starts right now. Welcome back, or welcome to another episode of Portugal, the Simple Life. And I'm delighted and excited to be joined here by Filipa, Fonseca, Silva. Filipa, boa tarde. It's after lunch.
Boa tarde.
How are you? Thank you for being on the podcast.
I'm fine. Thank you. I'm so glad you invited me. Very glad to be here.
It's lovely to have you. You look like you're in a museum, but I know that you're probably not.
Yeah, it's my living room.
Amazing. Okay.
I love art.
Is that camera filming our podcast as well?
Sorry?
The camera, is it filming the podcast as well? The camera behind? No, it's okay.
No. It's actually we use it more for the kids when they're home alone and we go out for dinner or something.
Exactly.
They're 13 and 11, so sometimes we just
need to
to see if they're not burning the house down.
Exactly. They're old enough to be at home, but they might break something.
Yes.
So we've got to watch. Yeah, we've got to watch these things. Filipa, maybe you can start off telling us a bit about you.
Well, I'm an author. I've published 6 novels so far, and also some nonfiction and a kids book too. And I used to be a copywriter in advertising. I worked in advertising for 15 years. And then in the past 5 years, more or less, I'm more dedicated, almost full time to writing.
Almost full time. Yeah, writing is not an easy job.
No, it's not. It's not considered a job, at least in Portugal. Being an author or being an artist is still seen as something that you can do as a side job, not as your main job. So, and book sellings in Portugal are low, unfortunately. So it's very hard for an author to live exclusively from book sales.
Yeah. How did that all start for you, Marta? How did you get into writing? How did you go down that path?
Well, I think I started writing before I knew how to write. Yeah. Because when I was very young, I used to get those picture books, the kids' books, and since I didn't know how to read, I would invent the stories. I looked at the pictures and I started inventing stories and telling stories to my toys. I gathered the toys all over in the floor like they were kids, and I started pretending I knew what I was reading. So I usually say that I started writing or creating stories before I could even read. All right. And then when I started writing, I started in school, of course, and I had a journal. It's a journal I've been writing it since 1988. So I still have a journal.
You still have it?
Several volumes, of course. Yeah. Otherwise, it'd be
a few. It's just a few.
Yeah. And so I always wanted to be a writer, actually. And since I knew from forever that writing or being an author was not a job in Portugal, I went to journalism school, and then I started in advertising, because both journalism and copywriting are jobs that allows you to work with words all day. So that's what I wanted to do. And finally, like I said, 5 years ago, I now dedicate almost all my time to writing.
Do you remember any of the stories that you told to your boneks?
Yeah, I actually remember one of the first stories. I was so proud of that story. It's like 2 paragraphs. It was about a pencil and a rubber.
Okay.
That they meet inside the case.
Yeah, the pencil case. Yeah.
And they fell in love, and they're different species, so it's not supposed they're not supposed to date. But then they started this romance, and they have little as children they have little pencils with rubber.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah. Like that.
That's a great story. That's there's a children's book there, Filipa.
Yeah, maybe.
we should think about it. It's a great story. I always remember my son when he was maybe like 3 years old. Same thing. Like we've always had books inside the house. My wife, if I was doing this at home, there'd be a big library behind me. My wife always complains that most of the books on my library, I still haven't read them yet. And I'm like, I'm getting there. I'm working through it, you know.
We will someday, eventually.
Yeah, exactly. One day I'll have time, you know, to sit and read for more than an hour. But I remember my son, he would sit with this picture book and he would read to my wife. But he couldn't read, so he would just tell the story that he was seeing on the pages. Yeah. And it's just amazing when we're that young, how the creative mind works. And what a
How old is he?
He's now 7, but at that time he was 3 or 4 years old.
Maybe you're looking at a future author.
He's definitely a creative. I think it might be more music, because he loves to sing, and he makes up songs as well.
Oh, that's so cool.
We never know. We'll see.
Yeah, we never know.
But my wife, whenever I'm not home, so usually on it's on a Monday and a Wednesday, I'm out training, and they're at home, and she always reads him a story before they go to bed. She's got a book of all traditional Portuguese children's stories. And she always, now it's their thing now. When I'm not at home, she reads him stories before they go to bed. So I think it's it's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, it should. Every parent should do that. I used to read to my kids, of course, and I think it's an habit that you create, and the sooner the better. Even if they, like my kids, are now entering adolescence, so now they're more like books are boring, reading is boring, everything is boring. Everything I tell them is also boring. Yeah. So, but I know they'll come back because the seed is there from very short age, and that's what I used to tell in conference about reading habits or how to make people read more. I think I always say you have to start from the base. You have to start with the little ones.
Yeah. It's normal when they're teenagers. We lose them for a few years. You know. We also have a teenager, and reading is not cool anymore. Reading is not cool. But was there, with your upbringing, was there somebody around that also fostered that creativity of yours? And
my mother is a great. She's a reader. She's like a book addict. Her personal library is huge. She's always buying books. She has, like, every time I go to her house, she has new books. She, like you said, and all readers, we never read all the books we buy, but we have to have them there, right? So, I never went to a public library because my house was
the library.
a library.
Yeah.
I never had that need to go outside because I had so much to read from different genres that I never felt this need to look elsewhere. And so I always looked at my mother. She was always reading in her spare time, so I think that's a good influence. Although she doesn't write at all, but
she bought your. I hope she's bought your books.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
you didn't know she didn't buy them. You gave her a copy.
Yeah, of course I gave her, but she also buys. She's always buying my books to give to her friends. Everyone she knows, I have to buy your book because I have to give. I'm going to a dinner and I will bring your book. So she's always my best buyer for sure.
That's good. Yeah, that's what mamas are for, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
But on the other way, my father was more creative, but he doesn't read. He was a singer. He had a band.
Okay.
And he liked to draw and paint, but then he just went to other path in life. But when he was young, he was very creative, but not a reader. So I have this both genes, maybe. The reader gene and the creator gene.
But music is quite nice because the use of lyrics and rhythm and stuff can help with the writing as well.
Yeah.
Our listeners are always from all over the world, Filipa, and always curious about our Portuguese guests and where they grew up and what life was like growing up. So tell us a bit about your background, where you grew up, and what you remember about your childhood here in Portugal.
Well, I was born and always lived until I moved to Lisbon like 20 years ago. But from my birth to my early 20s, I lived in Barreiro, which is just across the river from Lisbon.
Yeah.
It's a very small town. And growing up there was like, I had mixed feelings. I have mixed feelings because on one hand, it was lovely because it was a very small town and I lived right in the center and everybody knew me. My parents and my grandparents had stores. So people knew that, she's the daughter of Carlos. So everybody knew me. Everybody knows everybody, you know. It's that kind of small town, which is great because I could walk. I never felt the need to have a bike or a car because I would walk to the school, everywhere, to the movies, everywhere was walking. I could go out at night with friends, and because my parents knew the owners of the bars, so it was like very, very. Although it's just across the river, it's a very different lifestyle that a kid from a big city like this.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I was always I felt a little bit suffocated, especially when I entered adolescence, of course, because precisely everybody knew me, and I just wanted to go to Lisbon and be anonymous. And I think I had this fascination about the city because the city had theaters and had concerts and had a different cultural life that there was not much in Barreiro. It only had one movie theater, not a theater, just a sala. Just one movie per week in the early 90s. It was always the same movie for a whole week, and then it changed every Tuesday,
the good old days.
Thursday.
Good old days.
Yeah.
You had to wait. You had to wait for a new movie to come. It was the way it should be.
Yeah, and then it had like 3 or 4 bars and one theater company. So I was eager of cultural life and cosmopolitan people. You know, people. I wanted to. I think Lisbon for me was like the big city. I guess it's like when I see. American movies, like people that want to go to New York or something. It was like, wow, I have to go there.
Yeah.
And my school was by the river, so I had some classes that I would look through the window and see Lisbon with Barreiro as the most amazing view
Of
to
the
Lisbon.
city. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was always daydreaming that one day I will going to live there. One day I will be, and I managed to come
And
to
now you're
Lisbon
there.
20
And now
years
you're there.
ago, and now I'm here, and I love it.
Yeah. Lisbon's changed a lot over
A
the
lot.
years. You speak to anyone
Yeah,
that's lived in Lisbon, they say there's good and bad sides to the change.
for
But
sure.
I've been here 16 years. The Lisbon that I remember, the first time I was in Lisbon was probably, wow. Actually, I think the first time I went to Lisbon was 2001. I was 21 years old. And the Lisbon today is very, very different. So you've seen a lot of the
Very
changes.
different. Yeah, and of course you remember in those days there wasn't the soul in the Baixa, not a soul.
Yeah, Baisha was
After
quiet.
7,
Yeah.
it was empty. There's no people in the streets, and there were buildings very, very old and
Abandoned, yeah.
now abandoned. So it was quite dangerous to walk in some streets in the center of the city.
Yeah.
And that changed completely.
Yeah, I mean, what are some of the changes that you've seen for good and for bad in your city?
For good, for sure, the renovation of the buildings that were, we still have lots of them that needs to be
Still a lot needs to be done.
But that for sure was a great thing about these transformations. And of course, having tourism is important. Receiving people from other cultures and everything. That's I think it's great. I'm not the kind of Portuguese that, oh no, there's too much tourism. No, I think it's good if you have a good, sustainable tourism. So that leads me to the thing I don't like about what changed is that the tourism is not being built sustainably. It's I hate to go to the Baixa. Of course, 20 years ago we would go to the Baixa and there's no life, and stores were very old or old-fashioned maybe. But now you go to the Baixa and you say Starbucks and Zara and all the brands that you see elsewhere, and you're losing the small things that make us Portuguese.
Yes.
You're losing the tascas. You're losing the retrosarias. It's the place where you buy buttons and needles, and you're losing all this. The shoemaker. You're losing everything that's very typical Portuguese. The guy that's the shoe shining.
Shines the shoes,
Yes, in the street we had that in all the Baixa. There you can't see them anymore. So it's small trades, small stores, things that we are losing to these brands that are the same in every single city. So I think it's not a problem only in Portugal. It's a problem in all Europe.
All big cities, yeah.
And that's the part that I don't like. I don't like that the prices are because of the tourism, not because of the tourism. It's more about the people that came to buy houses here. Of course, we have a housing problem, but all other cities have the same problems with the costs of housing. But not only the housing, but for instance, the restaurants. It's becoming very expensive for a Portuguese native to go out to have dinner in Lisbon. And that's not cool. We used to have these small places where you would eat bifana and the pastel de bacalhau, and they were losing. And now it's all these fancy high-end restaurants that are not even Portuguese. That they're not that. And we have the gastronomy in Portugal is one of the best things we have. So if you're losing all these small places with the old lady that does this arroz de tomate just like we ate at our granny's, if you lose that, you lose your identity, I guess.
Yeah. I mean,
That's what I don't want.
I always say food is Portugal's love language, you know, and I still remember I used to love going to a place in Lisbon. I think it was near to what's the place that's just under the bridge?
Alcântara?
Alcântara, yeah. And it was just under the bridge there, and it was like this chicken place. And when you went in there, you couldn't see the other end of the room because there's so much smoke. But it was just like those real traditional grilled chicken places where you walked out and you could smell the chicken on your clothes. You know, it was just those kind of places. The small mercearias in Santos, the shoe shining guys. It was wonderful when I worked in Lisbon, and every now and then I could see I would stop, and it wasn't just him shining the shoe; it was the conversation and the
conversation,
stories,
of course.
Yeah, and I think whenever a city goes through a big renovation like that, then the risk is you lose part of the soul of the place. Which is a pity.
It's like Disneyland, you know. You stay with the buildings and the monuments, but inside it's empty. It has no heart.
Yeah. But I've spoken to many people from Lisbon on the podcast, and something very, very interesting. Everybody talks about the tourism. Everybody talks about Lisbon has changed and it's got expensive and things. No one has ever said, yeah, but we don't want people to come, you know. And I'm just so curious about this part of the Portuguese culture where we're still happy for people to visit and to enjoy our country.
Yeah, we're very welcoming, I think, all over the city. Even if you're Portuguese and you go to, like, for instance, this summer I went to Jerez, and so the people there treat me like I was a tourist, of course, although I'm Portuguese. And they were so proud that we were there. Oh, you're from Lisbon. Oh, you have to go here and go there. You have to know this place, and you have to go out for dinner at this place. So I think we love to receive the foreigners and show them our little gems. And but of course, it has. I think it would be. It's a political problem more than a personal or society problem, because I think Portuguese will always welcome foreigners and tourists, but the government and the cities all over Portugal, they have to be more. They have to regulate more this kind of tourism to prevent this gentrification and to prevent, like they did with the tuk-tuks. Now you can walk, but like 5 years ago, it was impossible to go. People from Lisbon would hate tuk-tuks. Like, it's not fun anymore. It was crowded with tuk-tuks. But now, after they're regulated, and now it's okay. You have a few tuk-tuks, but it's not like this invasion. So things have to be planned and have to be thought with the environmental impact that it will cause. So it's not a question of, oh, we don't want tourists go away. It's more a question of our government to set rules and try to make the experience more real, and try to turn Portugal in something. Try not to lose our essence and the things why people come here for. People come here for the pastel de bacalhau and for the fado in the streets. I think for a tourist, it's not cool to go to a pretend fado place. People want to go to the real fado place, the one that it's open until 3 a.m. and it's in a alley and you don't know how to get there. That's what people want. They don't want the big stage with lights and buy your ticket and see fado. No, that's not authentic. And I think people nowadays are eager for authentic experiences. 100%. And that's why we have to preserve these small things that are exclusively Portuguese.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I've been to some amazing fado concerts over the years. I remember listening to Anamora. Between my job as a realtor at Portugal Realty and hosting this podcast, life is pretty busy. But lately I've been receiving so many messages from people that want to know more about buying property here on Portugal's Silva Coast that I've got to do something about it. So starting now, for subscribers only, I'm offering up a 30-minute session per day. That's 5 30-minute sessions for a one-on-one meeting to talk about buying property here on Portugal's beautiful Silva Coast. This is for subscribers only. So please subscribe to book your session and get in touch with us through the links below via WhatsApp or email to book your session today. I'll be happy to speak to you. It's for subscribers only and it's completely free. In front of the Basilica in Viseu. And wow, and all of those are amazing. But the most amazing fado experience was probably in Alfama. And it was one of those places where I remember asking, I think it was a taxi driver, and I said, where can I go? And he goes, listen, go to this place, but just go sit down there, have a drink. Sometimes they sing, sometimes they play, sometimes they don't, and hopefully you'll be lucky. And it was literally, went in there, sat down, had a few drinks, some snacks, and then at some stage a guy got up with his guitar, started playing, a lady joined him. The how that music hits you, it's incredible. So yeah, an amazing experience, and I hope we can preserve some of those things for sure.
Yeah.
Filipa, tell us about some of your books. Tell us about the books that you've written.
Well, there are lots, so I don't think we have time to go through them all.
Okay.
But
How many in total have you written?
6 novels and 2 nonfiction, 1 children's book, and several short stories.
Okay, gotcha. Take
So
us through the highlights.
Yeah, my first book, it's I think the 2 first books are translated into English and are available at Amazon for those listeners that can't read Portuguese. They were first published in Portuguese here with the publishing house, of course, but then I paid for a translation and I did like this self-published version of the English version. So just to see how it went, and it went very good because I got to the Amazon top 100 in sales for one day, or a few hours at least.
One day, we'll say one day, yeah.
And so I think it's for me it was like let's see, because it's very hard for a Portuguese author to be published in other countries unless you have a prize. Or unless you're like Saramago or something.
Yeah.
So, and the excuse the publishers give us authors in Portugal when we ask, oh, why don't we translate? Why don't you try to sell the rights to other countries? They always say, oh, nobody's interested in Portuguese authors. So it's a long shot. You'll never make it. Never mind. It's too hard. So I did this experience just to see if it was true, and I discovered that the readers don't have this kind of prejudice. So they buy books if they like the premise or the cover, and they don't care if it's Portuguese or Chinese, as long as it's the subject that they appeal to them. So.
Yeah.
So it was this experience, and then I stopped because it was at my expenses, and I couldn't go and have a professional translator for all my books. So, and that one is 30-something, nothing how we dreamed it would be. It's my first book. And the second is The Strange Year of Vanessa M. And then I can talk about my 3 latest books that are not published in other languages yet, but they all have been adapted into movies, so, or will be. One of them is already in a short movie. It's The Elevator. Everybody can look it up in YouTube because it has subtitles. Although the translation of the subtitles is not perfect, I have to go there and make some corrections because it wasn't made. It was the director that made all this translation and everything. So I had nothing to do with that. I just gave the authorization for them to adapt the book. And so that's available. It's in Portuguese, but with subtitles in several languages. And the other two, it's What If I Die Tomorrow? It's a story about an old lady that has a sex life at 80. So it's a comedy, but also a book about gentrification and the role of older women in society that are still very invisible. So, and my latest book, it's a dystopian novel. It's called Brave Green World. It's an homage to Aldous Huxley, and it's about a group of environmental activists that overthrown the government and settle a totally green society.
Oh, wow.
And then what happens with that?
So I wanted to talk about the elevator because my biggest fear is being stuck in an elevator. Yeah. It's happened before, and luckily it was only like 20 minutes, I think, but it felt like hours. This is about two strangers that get stuck in an elevator, right?
No, they're not strangers. They're actually a couple.
They're a couple. And they go through a whole thing. Yes, okay. Now I remember.
Yeah, they're having troubles in their relationship, but they're in that stage that they don't talk about it. They just pretend nothing happened. They don't talk about anything. They're just constantly irritated with each other. And then they're going out for dinner one night and they're starting to fight about being late and it's your fault, we're late and everything. They started fighting and then the elevator stops and they're stuck the whole night inside the elevator. So at one point they have to talk about all the things they've been avoiding. And that's the book.
Amazing. Yeah, it's a really, really good concept. I always tell the story of most of the times if I ever get in an elevator with Portuguese people, they're talking about food. Like 90% of the time. It's amazing. Like what I had for breakfast, what I'm going to have for lunch. Have you been to this restaurant? It's it's good. And the one about the old lady, is this set in a particular place? Is it set in a particular city or location?
It's not explicit, but if you're in Lisbon, you can see some references. But I don't like to set the places because I like if a reader is from Braga that he would also imagine that happening in his surroundings. So I don't like to set like, oh, this is Lisbon in this building or near. So, but I have some references like the tuk-tuks are like Avenida Palace Hotel that you might realize that recognize as Lisbon, but it could be anywhere. It could be anywhere in the world, in a city.
It's interesting you mentioned about like the old people becoming invisible, and it's something that I love about Portugal, where if you take the time to have a conversation with an older person, they will tell you everything.
Yeah.
And you can learn so much, and there's these stories. And my father-in-law, he passed away 2 or 3 years ago, and he was a taxi driver. And
really,
that's a great story.
I have a book about this taxi driver in Lisbon.
Yeah,
it's my third book. It's Amanhece na Cidade, and it's about a taxi driver in Lisbon.
They have the best stories, and they know the best places, and it's just you know, and just when you take the time to talk. But this is leading to a question. I mean, for you, I know you're a mom with teenagers. So it's it's tough at the moment. It'll pass. I know you're close to your gran. Like, what were there any? What inspires your writing? What about being here and being in Portugal and what you see and hear around you inspires your work?
Oh, I don't know if I have a straight answer for
That's
that
okay.
question, because of course every author is as it's influenced by its environment and upbringing and everything. But at the same time, as a fiction writer, I have to go out of my upbringing and my surroundings and be able to put me in someone else's shoes, even if it's a taxi driver with 50 years old, or if it's an old lady with 80 years old. So there's references, of course, of my livelihood, but I think I always try to go out and go out of my head and explore things. That's the beauty of writing. You can be anyone, anywhere, any age. So that's what I like in fiction writing.
And I mean, it can be quite stressful if you've got a deadline, if you're trying to put stuff together on time, and we get the dreaded writer's block. But I mean, how does being in a place like Portugal, in a place like Lisbon, how does it free you up? How does it give you the space to create, to sometimes reset or refresh? How does being here help with that?
It's amazing, and I don't know if you know this, probably you do, but there's lots of artists and authors that are moving to Portugal. Even Americans and French and Brazil. Oh, Brazilians! There are so many Brazilian authors that now live in Lisbon. So I think Lisbon is perfect for a writer because it's very small, but it has small in the sense that you can walk for almost anywhere, and it has so many different places that are inspiring. You can go to Parque das Nações, and it's very futuristic, and you have all these very modern buildings, and because it's a place that was created less than 30 years ago, so and then you can go to the medieval part of the city, or you can go to the main square by the river, or you can lose yourself in the botanical garden, which you can. People don't even know in Lisbon that we have such a beautiful place. Actually, we have two. We have one in Ajuda, another in Príncipe Real. So as a writer, it's amazing because and then you can talk to the old ladies and the taxi drivers and the lady from the bakery or the stewards. You can get, and I love it. I love to have these conversations with that people, like you were talking about the shoe shiner and everything, because that's where actually that's where I get the stories from my books. It's from these
conversations.
Sometimes this conversation or just listening to other people conversations. Like, for instance, the book I was telling you about, the taxi driver. It happened to me. I was in this taxi, and I never I don't talk much with. But I just talk about the weather or something something. Oh, it's the traffic or something. And I was like making this small talk, and suddenly he started crying and telling me about his wife that has left him, and she had another man, but he was crying with tears, and driving at the same time. And I didn't know what to say.
Of course.
But I was, I'm so sorry to hear that. You have to be patient. I didn't know what to say. And when I I arrived and I closed the door, and I said to myself, this is my next character. I'm going to write a book about this taxi driver that talks a lot and cries. And who is he? Who was his wife? And then just from a small cab ride, there's a book.
It's a whole book.
So this is the magic of Lisbon. You have so many different things that you can experience in such a small space, comparing to other big city capitals. That and then you have the river. Then you have this light, and then you can go to the beach in 20 minutes ride, and so it's great.
I think we're just so lucky to live in a place where, okay, the taxi driver is kind of an extreme example, but you know, we're just so lucky to live in a place where people still today in today's world have got the time to have a conversation, to share something. And if we're willing to hear it and willing to take the time as well, you can find something beautiful in a simple conversation with can be anybody. It can be the guy making the coffee, the person cutting your hair. I don't get my hair cut that much these days, but you know, you just have this wonderful culture, I think, in Portugal where people are just happy to take time to talk and to share a story and to connect, and that's rare in today's world. We're very blessed to have that here.
Yeah, I feel the same.
Filipa, books are an amazing thing because we can preserve a story in a book and history and a moment. But what is something in Portugal that you would want to preserve, that you don't want to change? Something a part of our culture, something in Portugal that you want to stay exactly the same?
What? I think it's that thing that we were talking about. The people, the way the people are still very generous and not very cynical. Especially if you go out of Lisbon, it's this ability to connect with people. I don't want to lose that, and that's why I think sometimes people from Lisbon get mad at the foreigners. It's because I don't want to see my neighborhood invaded with other cultures, not because of don't wanting them to come, but because they want to preserve this little Portuguese thing that we have that's so genuine. And some neighborhoods in Lisbon are already losing that because you don't have a padaria anymore. You have a boulangerie, you know, and it's not the same.
I think remembering Lisbon from 20 years ago and it still felt like a village, you know, where everybody knew everybody and you knew who your neighbor was and you had those conversations, and that's what I enjoy about not living in the city. You know, where I'm up north. I'm near to Nazaré and somewhat near to Porto, Caldas, and these are still these traditional places where you stop and you talk to your neighbor. And you know, the other day, without even realizing it, my son, he had invited our whole road. My wife and I didn't know, but he had invited everybody in our street to his birthday party. So we were sitting there at his birthday party and in walked three of the neighbors and we're like, oh, hi. And then they're like, yeah, Benji invited us, you know, and it's just that kind of thing is just something special. And I agree.
And
it doesn't change.
When I moved to this house, it was like, I think 7 years ago. This is in Olivais, which is not center of Lisbon. And the neighbors are, this is a building from the 60s, and almost lots of the neighbors are still the ones that bought the houses and the first buyers. So they're now in their 90s, late 80s, 90s. So when we came here, and I had my kids were small, were like 4 and 6.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Oh, welcome. And if you ever need someone to babysit, you can leave them here."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they were like, "I don't know you."
Yeah.
But this thing like, your family now. You live in this building, so
Yeah.
the door is open, and you can come and knock at the door if you need something, like lemon or eggs for your dinner. Or sometimes when we go out, we always say to our neighbor, "Oh, we're leaving the kids alone. Just if they need anything, they will knock at your door," and they say, "Oh, fine, of course."
Oh, it's wonderful.
So this is that's the essence I don't want to lose.
Yeah. So can you confirm or deny if it was one of your neighbors who inspired your book about the 80-year-old lady? Can you confirm?
No, it was not, because it's actually based on a true story, but it happened in France with a friend, my mother's friend, that helped this old lady. And one day she discovered she had sex toys, and she had, yeah, that's true. But my old ladies, the old ladies in my building, somehow inspire me in building this character. Especially my
above you,
above me. She plays the piano.
Okay.
She's 19 now. She's
Wow.
19, and sometimes she just starts playing the piano like for 2 hours in a row. And sometimes I don't know if she's not very well now, but sometimes she goes play the piano at 11 p.m. or at midnight. And that there's a part in my book that I put there because it was like, "Oh, I don't care. I'm just playing the piano," because I can. The book is called "What If I Die Tomorrow?" So what if I die tomorrow? I have to play the piano now. I don't care.
Very good.
The neighbors.
I love it. I love it. Filipa, what's one thing that people can remember, that you'd like people to remember and take away from our conversation?
That we are very nice, and the people, the Portuguese, not you and me. Of course, we are.
We are as well. Yeah, they can take. You can stop there. They can just take you and I. We're nice. Yeah, it's fine.
I think that that Portugal, it's although it's a very small country, it's so big in that sense of the heart. Not the heart with an H.
Yeah.
Sorry about my accent.
No, it's good.
And in a small space, if you go in, to compare with Spain or with other country, are very, very small, but you have so much diversity. You can go from Nazaré, like you said, a very like village style of life, or you can go to Lisbon, which is more sophisticated, or you can go to Alentejo, and this is all in 2 hours rides. So in 2 hours you are in a completely different scenario, and the only common things about these all places is the Portuguese are very nice, and the food is awesome. North or south, east or west, interior or seaside, you will find amazing food and very nice people.
I like that. Yeah, very good. Filipa, how can people follow you online? How can they see how can they find your books? Tell us where people can connect.
Well, I have, like I said, a few at Amazon in English. And the Portuguese ones you can find in all libraries also, but bookstores in Portugal, the traditional bookstores or online bookstores like Bertrand, wherever you buy books in Portugal, you will find them there. And you can follow me at Instagram, at TikTok. I'm very active. I like to do
on TikTok.
Also TikTok. Sometimes I just do stupid things like I think a good characteristic of mine is to be. I like to. I don't take myself very seriously,
Yeah,
which is not common in authors. Authors are
True.
very intellectual, and they think, "Oh, I'm so important because I write books," and I'm not like that. I like to laugh, and I don't take myself too seriously.
Okay.
So sometimes I do goofy things on TikTok just for fun.
Okay.
And sometimes I talk about important things around the world of books, of course,
Okay.
but sometimes also other themes. So Filipa Fonseca Silva on TikTok, on Instagram.
Brilliant. I'll put some links in the show notes so people can follow you, and also some of the books as well, so people can get a hold of your books. Filipa, one more question, and a question that we ask all of our guests. Portugal, the simple life, why?
Because it's a small village. The whole country is a small village. You feel at home. You feel it's cozy. It's like visiting this very small town from your childhood. It has this. It's not only simple. It's very innocent, I think. Still.
Yeah, I like that. Thank you so much. It's been a wonderful conversation.
That's a wrap.
So thank you once again to our guest, and thank you to all of you for listening. Please subscribe, share with your friends, give us a thumbs up, and please leave a comment or a review. We always love to hear from you. Don't forget, Portugal The Simple Life also has a magazine, so download it. It's for free. We'll be back next week with a brand new episode, and as we say in Portugal, sejas bem-vindo. Welcome to The Simple Life.